Today, we're gonna put 37-inch tires and 20-inch wheels on this. Let's get started. So full disclosure, we have already done a 4.5-inch ready lift on this truck. As you can see, those radius arms are sticking down a little bit more than they usually would. And then we've got some lift on the back here as well. While Mike is pulling the tires off of it, I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit more about the lift that we put on this thing. There really are several ways that trucks are lifted. This one is lifted by way of large coil springs in the front and suspension blocks here in the back. That's what that black square is. When we lift a truck, it's not just about lifting the suspension. There's a bunch of geometry down in everything from what the ways the wheel sits to how the drivetrain has to work in order to make it all work. Can't believe that none of you told me my freaking collar was crooked. This is a really good example right here. This radius arm would usually go up into this bracket up on top, but the lift came with a bracket for us to put it down a little bit lower so that as we lift the front suspension, all the rest of the geometry stays the same. I want to draw your attention to this ring right here in between the transfer case and the transmission. As we go lifting the truck, it's actually going to take that transfer case and it's going to turn it a certain way. So what Ready Lift has done is made a plate that relocates that transfer case, turns it just a little bit, I think, to the right. But that just makes sure that all of the geometry, all the symmetry is going to stay the same as far as the drivetrain is concerned. Here's a better look at these new coil springs, new shock absorbers from Falcon, and some more of that bracketry. You can see that this sway bar has to drop in order to keep everything the same. The involvedness of these lifts varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. This customer is actually a regular of ours, and we have put on lots of lifts for his different trucks. This one was a little bit different in that he wanted 37-inch tires on it. For those of you that don't know,
those are big tires.
So what are we doing with these, Mike?
We're going to take the sensors out and we're going to put them in those rims.
Now we've already mounted one of these up because after we do this lift, we want to make sure that everything fits right, everything clears. And the fit check has been done. There's not a ton of clearance, but there is enough. All right, so right here we've got old versus new. You can see the height difference is quite a bit. They are both 20-inch wheels, but we've got 37-inch BF Goodrich TA KO2 tires on these fuel assault wheels. We do need to take the stock sensors out of these stock tires to put them in the new wheels. So I'm going to show you what that's going to look like here in a second. If you like this content, please like and subscribe below. All right, guys, now that we've pulled all the sensors out, Mike is going to put those back together and we're going to fill them back up with air because the customer likes to keep them. Now the job is to take these and put them in the new wheels. And since Mike has got another job to do, I get to do those.
Don't be a baby.
We're going to unbox these so you can see how they come out. Take all the wrapping off, all this protective foam. There they are.
Five minutes later.
On movie sets, they do what's called hurry up and wait. So you hurry up, you get to set, get your hair and makeup done and everything, and then you wait on set for forever. It's kind of like what doing tires is trying to go fast the entire time and then waiting for air to get put in it is a slow process. Anytime. You know, what we're probably going to do is go ahead and move this off, and then we'll fill them before we balance them the rest of the way. The important thing is that they get seated while they're on this machine. All right, so for those of you that don't know, The next step in mounting tires after they're all mounted and full of air is balancing. So this is our balancing machine in all its glory. It is a little bit old and a little bit disheveled, but it really does get the job done. See, the theory behind balancing is that tires and wheels, or tire and wheel assemblies, are more massive or have more mass on one side than the other. So we put weights on the inside of wheels to counteract that offset mass. And the reason that's important is that rotating mass tends to pull to the side that has, well, more mass. And what happens when a wheel and tire assembly kind of pulls to that side is we get a vibration between about 55, 60, up to 80 miles an hour. So we don't want that. So we're gonna go ahead and balance these tires. All right, moment of truth. This is so tall, these tires are, we've actually got to jack up the vehicle to get the new ones on. Now, keep in mind that we have pre-checked these for clearance. So we'll do a post-check as well with both tires of the vehicle on the ground, fully suppressed suspension, so that we get a good idea of what the customer can expect going forward. It's actually a lot more common than you'd think to have people come in and have these lifted trucks and have some huge tires that don't actually fit, rub a little bit, and they just live with it. So to each their own. I like to make sure that they fit. The other thing that we can kind of do is trim back some of that trim a little bit to kind of fit those tires. But we like to avoid that as well, hence why we went with a 4.5-inch lift. All right, before installing these tires, we need to make sure that these lock tabs are pulled off. Otherwise, they will create a space between the new wheels and the rotor. We don't want that because that'll wiggle them loose. Now, I've always been told they're on there for ease of installation during the manufacturing process, which was like 3 months ago for this thing probably, but I'm not sure on that. Can anybody tell me, why they put those on? Okay, just as a precautionary measure, we're gonna go ahead and fit check them. Go back. Okay. This is looking good. Go ahead. Go ahead. Takes so much tire shine. Somebody told me their personal hell would be cleaning wheels for an eternity. I feel it. Although, on a project like this, not too bad. This leaves a residue that you want to make sure you get off the wheel. Doesn't look horrible, it just looks nicer. All right. Look at that, the logo's right side up. It's an omen, good sign. With that, we are done with this project. We're gonna go on a final test drive and make sure that it's everything rides nice. We don't have any vibrations or anything like that. And then it will be delivery to the customer. Time for a final test drive. I've taken my coveralls off. I'm a little bit cleaner, so that's what you want when you get into a customer's brand new truck. So let's see how it goes. Looks solid. Join us next time. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.